Hello, good evening and welcome race clubbers to our season finale. We are at Bathurst in Australia and you join us just at the end of qualifying where we've got quite a good grid. We've got 12 drivers out there tonight. As you can see at the moment, Donardi is the one in pole position, but only by 0.159 of a second from Bazix. So it's tight at the front. And showing his, how shall I say, newfound form as the season's gone on is Rusty GT there in the Ferrari, because he's leading the second row. So Rusty struggled a little bit with pace earlier in the season, but in these last few races he has really shown a good turn of speed. So he's, how should you say, the best of the rest behind the front row. And the one driver who is currently leading the championship, which is Chicken Paxo, he's actually a little bit out of sorts at the moment. He's 1.5 seconds off the pace there in fourth, but still on the second row, so he is not a million miles away. So we are just going to get back to where we should be. And the Brownster has entered the chat. Now the Brownster should be on the the commentary chat, I think, not just throwing his pennies worth in on the live chat on YouTube, but we'll follow that argument up a little bit later. And as I was just fending off those comments there, Chicken Paxo has picked up the pace. He has got it up to just 0.7 of a second off pole at the moment. Donardi has gone into the pit, so he's done. So the only one that can spoil it for him is Bazux. So he's just starting a lap now, and he looks like he's on the pace. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to hop on board there with Bazux, or we're going to try to. And it doesn't look like it wants to change for me, so we will go away from that shot, because what we need to do is press that button there. No, we don't seem to be having a working on board tonight, so that's not a big problem. We can work around that. So as Bazux works his way up over Mount Panorama, as you can see, the walls on this track are right on the edge of the circuit, particularly over this mountain section, and that does cause how should we say, more incidents than normal on a compared to a modern track of lots of runoff and so on. So a little mistake here does get very severely punished, as they tend to pick up damage into the walls. And being a long circuit as well, it takes a little while to get back to the pits. Oh, that was round Forest Elbow. There was Bazux. That didn't look like the fastest line to me, but he's keeping going on the lap. Here we go, down the Conrad straight into the chase, over the crest there. The car goes light, and then just after this right hand kink, about there, he'll be slamming on the brakes. You can see the disc glowing bright red, and Bazux is going to be the last one to cross the line. So Chicken Paxo, I notice, has actually nicked that second place off Bazux at the moment. Can Bazux nick it back? Chicken Paxo just 0.072 off Donardi's pole time. Here comes Bazux up to the line. Can he do anything? No, it looks like he'd aborted that one already. I think he knew he wasn't going to pick the pace up there, but Chicken Paxo is still out there. No, he's not. He's abandoned the lap as well, and the only one still left out there is Valtteri, coming down to the final corner. Round Murray's he goes towards finish line. Can he get his way up from 6th? No, he can't. He's still in 6th at the moment. So that is our grid for the race. So Donardi on pole, Chicken Paxo in 2nd. So that's 2 of our title protagonists, and in 3rd we've got the other title protagonist, who is Bazux. So the 3 fastest guys in the championship are the 3 at the front. And still an impressive performance there by Rusty GT. He's there in 4th, so he's lining up on the 2nd row. And into the 3rd row, we've got DB Kung, who was a quick driver, particularly at one point. So he was pulling pole positions out of his hat like a magician. So he's lining up there in 5th. 6th is one of our returning drivers, that's Valtteri. And then we've got Chris V-Dub, the man with the hands, he's in 7th. And then Groot, a relatively new driver, he's alongside him in 8th. And then Marge in the McLaren in 9th, who has been showing a bit of a turn of speed recently. Was particularly good last week in the wet at Silverstone. So Randy Flangepants there in 10th. And then Brave Corporal, he was with us earlier in the season. He's come back to join us for the finale race. He's there in 11th, and 12th is a new driver to us, all the way from Kentucky, USA. I'm going to call him Baba, because I think that's the best I'm going to get out. And he is lining up in 12th. Didn't actually get himself a pole time in there. Let's have a quick look on the chat. Stuart Packham is a driver that we know as Lager something. He's just ordered his dessert because he is out with his good lady tonight, because she is having her birthday, so he's doing the right thing. And apparently, according to Anthony Brown, the Brown Star, it says that Chicken Paxo's a naturist and sim races wearing only Sparko racing gloves. I think that's probably what my cousin would describe as an overshare, so we'll leave that one parked there. So I think the other thing you guys are going to be interested in is where things are in the championship, and so am I, because I'm just trying to lay my fingers on it because I had it here just now. While we're just counting down for these drivers to start their warm-up lap, just remind you, this is a 2-hour race tonight, so the biggest endurance I think is going to be from the commentator if he can keep going for that long. And it is accelerated time, so we're starting at 7 p.m. and we will be having a 3 times acceleration of time, so the drivers will finish at 11 p.m. so we are going to have an hour or so in the dark. So we have got a few elements that are going to come into play. The other element that's going to come into play is there is a compulsory pit stop. So these drivers do have to come in, change tyres, which they'll need to be honest, after an hour of actual race time. They will need to do that, otherwise they won't have any grip come the sort of hour and a half stage at least. And also fuel-wise, they will need to come in because the fuel that they have won't actually in their tank unless they're sort of driving it like your granny. Oh, looks like Rusty GT's got a little problem getting off the grid. No, he's away. So because I wasn't paying attention, we're on with Valtteri at the moment, so that's where our camera's stuck until they cross the line, but that's not a problem because we can get around that. We have the technology. In fact, we might have the technology now. Yes, we have. Okay, so we've got 2 hours. This is Race Club round 12, so we've had 11 other rounds, which I'll talk you through in a moment because I'm sure we're going to have a couple of quiet spots in this race. And just to remind you where the points are, currently leading is Chicken Paxo. He has got a total of 324 points. Ben Smith, who's Bazzox, is in second. He's got 307, and in third with 245 is Dan Clegg. Now the slight oddity we have tonight is that because this is a 2-hour endurance, much longer than our normal races, it is actually quadruple points. So the winner will get 100 points. So any of those drivers technically could win. However, for example, for Donardi, it would need both Bazzox and Chicken Paxo to sort of not complete the race, or at least not a reasonable proportion of the race. So it is a bit of an outside bet there. There's more of a chance between Chicken Paxo and Bazzox, because there is currently, quick mental arithmetic, 17 points between them, and the gap between first and second place is going to be 20 points because it's 100 points for the winner and 20 for second place. So it really is there. If Bazzox can win, he could snatch the championship, and that would actually be the first time he's led the championship, I believe, all season. So the drivers just starting to work their way down the hill. They're coming down towards Forest Elbow, which is the last left-hander before the long Conrod straight. So getting a good exit from this corner is so important, because it controls your speed the whole way down here, all the way to the chicane at the chase. So I really don't know which way this is going to go. I think we might have a little bit of strategy come into play. Depends when drivers decide to change tyres, and because we're going into the dark, the other thing that is so important for these drivers to consider is that they need to have got a good setup for the cooler temperatures later on. So that means adjusting their tyre pressure. So we could have a driver who is really quick early on, but as the race progresses into the dark and different tyre pressures are needed, they may need to look at having a different tyre pressure. Now, if you get that wrong, it could be quite expensive. So I'm just going to have a quick look as to what chat we've got going on the YouTube channel. Joe Gross says, oh, this is on YouTube. No need to look at Baba unless you want a good laugh. No, we don't laugh at anybody here unless they do something really, really silly. And Anthony Brown has got some things up which I'll just leave you to read on YouTube, because I'm not going to broadcast that kind of thing, because he's intimating certain things about Chicken Paxo. But obviously he's voting for Bathurst tonight. So here we go, round the final corner of Murray's. The cars trundle up side by side towards the start line. Race Club, round 12, endurance race is go. And we're off down to the first corner, and it looks like Donati has the inside line and is holding the lead round the first corner. Chicken Paxo in second. Bassett coming around in third. All looks reasonably tidy behind as well. Doesn't look like anybody's done anything too weird and wonderful behind. So as we head up towards Griffin, it's all looking pretty tight at the front. In fact, those first three of Donardi, Chicken Paxo and Bassett do seem to be making a little bit of a breakaway from Rusty GT there, who is still there in fourth place. Timing screen just quickly sorting itself out. We'll have an update. Oh, it looks like Rusty GT is just being taken now. I think that was by Valtteri. Valtteri up to fourth and Rusty GT down to fifth, but we'll get a confirmation of that at the next timing line. Just looked like Rusty had made a very small mistake there and paid the price. So Valtteri, returning driver to the series, is really on the pace. So here we go, through the S's, off the cliff which is the Dipper, down towards Forest Elbow. It looks like the pace at the front here is absolutely flat out. So here we go, first blast down the Conrod straight, and there we go. Donardi goes by, Chicken Paxo in the red and yellow Audi there, and in the Bentley at the back there is Bassett. These three are definitely pulling away. We're just going to quickly pull our camera angle out a little bit. No, we don't seem to have camera angles working for us tonight, so we're going to have to stick with what we've got, which is fine. We can work with that. So here we go, down to complete their first lap. Oh, and that is Valtteri in the background. I was just going to hop back to him. So that is Valtteri there in fourth. But Rusty GT is not giving up. He made that small mistake, probably cold tyres on the first lap, and Valtteri pounced. So those two guys have dropped back a little bit, and then there's another gap back to DB Kung and Chris V Dub. Chris V Dub is one driver that they always... Hello, what's happening here? Here we go. Chris V Dub is a driver that everyone admires, because he actually uses a hand controller rather than a sort of steering wheel pedals kind of rig, and does put in some quite impressive results, has had podiums and so on. So he's one who is really impressive with what he gets up to with that hand controller. So Brave Corporal, oh, just skimming the wall there as he comes through the cutting. Brave Corporal returning to the series, did a few races earlier on, so it's great to see him out there tonight. Oh, and we've got somebody in the pits already. Groot has gone to the pits, so that will be a little bit early for his compulsory stop. Oh, and that's Marge is looking like he's got to move on round the outside there of Brave Corporal, but he's got it all wrong on the curbs. It looks like they're both having a bit of a moment there, and they've just shaken out. So Marge in front of Brave Corporal there. So that's Marge up to 8th and Brave Corporal down to 9th. So let's have a look who else we've got. Randy Flangepants there in one of the Bentleys. He's there running around in 10th at the moment. Oh, and it was a heavy impact with the wall there for Randy Flangepants. I don't know how much that is going to affect the handling of his car, but that seemed quite a heavy impact. And then we've got Groot has just come out of the pits and then just picked up a 30-second stop and go. So he is on the back foot already. And finally, currently running in 11th place in the Mercedes there is our new driver Baba, from all the way from Kentucky, USA. And I'm sure, as I say Kentucky, everyone's going to think fried chicken. and apparently Baba comes from the town where the very first fried chicken was actually opened. So a little bit of history for you there. So we've got a few comments coming in, some of which I can use. CJW Racing is going go on Valtteri, and I think Valtteri is going on, is going back. Let's have a look. Cameraman will catch up for us in a second. So Rusty GT is actually back up to 4th. And Valtteri is back down to 5th. Oh, Rusty GT's not getting on well with the cutting there at the moment. So got away with that one. He got enough of a gap there over the Bentley of Valtteri that he wasn't overtaken. So he got away with that one. So those two are working their way through. Oh, hello. Oh, I think that, I was just seeing what was happening further up front, but I think that was a lapped car. I think that was possibly Groot. Oh, no, it wasn't. That's Chicken Paxo. Looks like he's made a mistake. Chicken Paxo. No, he hasn't. Oh, I'm getting all excited about something that wasn't actually happening, but somebody's made a mistake there because Rusty GT is catching these 3 drivers in front of him. So what was a 3-way battle for the lead is now a 4-way battle, and that I was mixing up the, no, I was right. Chicken Paxo's gone through. So Donardi was the one that made a mistake. Donardi's made a mistake. He's gone down to 3rd, and Chicken Paxo has taken the lead. So now we have the 2 drivers that are effectively battling for the championship, 1 and 2 in the race. So this is where it's at. It's between these 2, and for Bazix to win the championship, he needs to be in front of Chicken Paxo, and at the moment he isn't. But look in the background, Rusty GT is hanging on to these front 3 very well indeed. And Chicken Paxo made a little bit of a mistake there at Hell Corner. He just jumped the curb, so it looks like he's doing a little bit of weaving to he's doing a lot of weaving there actually to defend his place there. We've got a long way to go. We've only had 7 minutes of racing so far. So it looks like Valtteri is just falling a little bit off the back of this battle at the moment. It's not just the pace, I think, up the front here is extremely quick. So, and it looks to me like Bazix has got the potential to have a little bit more speed than Chicken Paxo has in front of him. But obviously Chicken Paxo is going to have his elbows out like a fat kid on the way to the tuck shop, and he's really not going to want to let Bazix by, because if Bazix gets by and gets away, that could be his championship gone. Oh, and Chicken Paxo's made a mistake there. He's made a big mistake. He's into the wall. That is going to cost him fantastically. He went through the dipper, he clipped the wall on the right, then the wall on the left. That is going to be really expensive. That could have been the championship gone, because Bazix was pressurising him really hard there, and he is now in the lead. So Bazix is in championship winning position, and look at the damage there on Chicken Paxo's car. It's all crumpled at the front. He took back impacts on both sides. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that affects the handling of his car to the point where he needs to pit, because if he needs to put in an extra pit stop, that is going to be his race over. He will be able to continue in the race, but effectively he will not be competitive up the front. And this is one thing that we always think of when we talk about the Bathurst circuit, that it is so easy to make a very small mistake and pay a very high price, because those walls are right on the edge of the circuit. And there's no runoff as you go over the mountain, and it can get really expensive. And look how the pack is closing up. Rusty GT is on the back of the front 3, and Valtteri's caught up as well. Had a comment on the YouTube chat, and we'd love you to get involved and join in with the chat. Anthony Brown, a line that I wish I'd thought of, he said Paxo got stuffed, and I think that is possibly what could be the best summary of that situation. CJW saying they will be, assuming they will all be carrying 100+ kilograms of fuel. Yeah, I don't think you'll be far out. They'll have enough in there for about an hour of racing. if they're going for the ideal strategy, which is obviously the one stop halfway through. Notice that Groot there has just cleared it. Oh, Chicken Paxo round, and Denardi's off. Oh, it's thrown the race right open. Rusty GT has spun round. He's in the middle of the track. He's facing the wrong way. He was on such a good drive there at the moment, and this is all just falling into Bazek's hands. And I think Rusty GT is struggling to find somewhere to turn round. And that was Rusty GT. Oh, the cameraman's having a little bit of a fit there. He's having to catch up. Rusty GT has got round. Oh, I am so sad there for Rusty GT, because he was having an absolutely fantastic run there. But the other one in there was Chicken Paxo, who was really struggling with the, I think, the handling of his car, and it just, as he went over Skyline there, it just got loose and it went into the wall again, and he skittled off not only his teammate, but also really caught Rusty GT. So I think Chicken Paxo, who is currently running 6th, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if he doesn't go for the pits. I think he'll be buying a few apology points at the bar tonight after the race. But the big winner in all of this, look at this, Valtteri got through all that chaos, and he is now second, 5 seconds behind Bazek's, who has got a clear run out front. Oh, and I don't know if that was contact there, but Valtteri got all sideways, and Denardi has got himself back up into second place. Now Denardi, here comes the team strategy, guys. Denardi is teammates to Chicken Paxo, who has gone for the pits as I predicted. And now, what it really needs is Denardi to get in front of Bazek's to try and take some points away, and Chicken Paxo to hope that he can get up after his pit stop and overtake, or at least get the points loss down to enough for him to keep hold of his championship. So this has thrown everything wide open. We're only 12 minutes into the race. I don't know how I'm going to keep going for another 1 hour 48, but we'll see how we go. And the great thing is we've still got two drivers. Sorry, we've still got 12 drivers. So there's plenty of things that can happen. These long endurance races are absolutely fantastic in this respect. So Randy Flangepant has been into the pits, I see. That was, I think he picked up that damage as they came over the mountain. There he is. Cameraman caught up in the end. And he's just... Oh, and that's Marge. All spun round there at the top. So the mountain is really taking no prisoners tonight. So I think Marge has got going again. He was running in 6th. So I think that's dropped him back. That looked like Baba behind him. So that comment we had earlier that Baba wasn't going to be one to watch. He's keeping it straight and clean, and he's currently up to 8th. And I'm trying to see. I think that's Marge behind him, I think. Certainly in McLaren. So yeah, Marge has dropped back to 8th. In fact, I think Baba's up to 7th. So great debut there from the Mercedes driver from the US of A. No, that's Marge in front. So who's that? Oh, it was an Audi. That was my mistake. So that must have been Groot. So that's actually a lap car there. So Groot's had a couple of ventures through the pits, having had a stop and go penalty, I imagine, for speeding in the pit lanes. So we've got a little bit of action on the chat. Got a question: if Bazek's wins, where does Paxo need to finish? He can, to be honest, he can finish in the pub, because the gap between them is 17 points, and because it's quadruple points, it means there's 100 points for the win, 80 points for second place. There's a 20-point gap. So if Bazek's wins, he wins the championship. So he's just got to keep it out there and not get into any bother. And as I can think at the moment, I think the gap back to Denardi is slightly growing. So Bazek's up at the front there, really has just got to keep it on the straight and narrow and keep it away from those walls, because the thing that can cost him dearly is when the tyres start to wear and his grip level varies. That's when the mistakes can come in. You just, go into a corner, it just drifts a little bit wider and there's a wall there, and bam, before you know it, you're in the wall and you're in the pits. So who else? We got Marge just dropping into the pits there. So we've got quite a lot of early pit stops here. So I think these guys are going to have to do second pit stops. But the one that is seriously out of sync at the moment is Chicken Paxo. Now Chicken Paxo is just will now be in front of Marge. So at least. So I'm not sure where he's relative to Baba. Where's Baba, shall we say? Oh, he's a long way back from Baba. Baba is over near Forest Elbow, and Chicken Paxo is where we are with Chicken Paxo is just coming up to the cutting. So that's a lot of work there for Chicken Paxo to do. So Baba already up to 7th. So Chicken Paxo is leading those of the ones that have pitted, but of course he's got quite a long way to go to catch up with that leading pack. Now talking of leading pack, Denardi, as we know, got into second ahead of Valtteri, but now looks like Valtteri may be coming under a little bit of pressure from DB Kung. But looking at that blue Ferrari DB Kung's, looks like he's had one or two adventures as well, because as you can see it come by, there's a few scuffs on the front of that car. So, quarter of an hour in, and we've had quite a lot of action already. These endurance races, they, you know, the clue's in the title. You need to keep it going to the end. What else have we got? Let's have a quick look. See if we can make any. See if our cameras are working. Ah, I know why the cameras aren't working. Excuse me. I think that might be cockpit error at this end. Excuse me, we might have a slight interval. Let's see if that makes things better. Yes, there we go. It was operator error. I do apologise. I pulled my driving gloves on a week ago, and I'd forgotten to change all my settings back. So I do apologise. That was completely down to me, that one. So let's go on board with DB Kung, who is trying to chase down Valtteri. I'll tell you what, we'll take you on a lap of this Bathurst circuit. We always see the sun setting there on the right as we navigate Hell's Corner. So we're now heading up Mountain Straight, second longest of the straights on this circuit. Getting over a good crest here, and then we're going to be braking hard shortly into Griffins. Now this one can catch you out on the exit. The wall will come back in to bite you, as you will see there. But both drivers got away with it, and then they're into the cutting. So we're trying to turn and brake down to one of the slowest and almost steepest parts of the circuit as we work our way up the hill through Quarry Corner. And then we're going to head round these left-handers up towards Skyline, which the clue's in the title because it's the highest point of the circuit. Oh, and the driver off there. Oh! I don't know who that was, but that was very expensive there for DB Kung, because I think, hang on, we're going to cancel that because we need to change the view. Oh, I'm getting all excited and getting it wrong. Excuse me a second. There we go, that's what we wanted. Let's just return, see who that was. I think that's the driver just coming through behind. No, I don't think it was Chris V. Dub. Now, Chris V. Dub is someone who has, in that green Porsche there, worked his way up the grid. DB Kung, I think, is going to have to go for the pits there. There seems to be an awful lot of damage to that blue Ferrari. Chris V. Dub up to 4th. Could he get a podium? The man with the hands. He could be on the podium in this final race. So I think I'm not trying to work out who that was that was having a moment there. That's Marge going through. It might have been a McLaren, but that McLaren of Marge there looks pretty intact, so I don't think it was. So yeah, as I predicted, DB Kung going for the pits there. So that's let Valtteri off the hook, because he's now not getting any pressure from behind. But getting pressure from behind could be Bazics, because that gap had stretched between first and second to around 6 seconds. Now Bazics is on the move, and the gap is down to 4.5. So Donati has definitely got some pace there in second place, working his way up. Now he's working hard for his teammate Chicken Paxo, who is out of sync at the moment, and I believe he's going to have to do at least a splash and dash later in this race. I'll be surprised if he doesn't have to change his tyres. So Chicken Paxo is right out of sync at the moment, but it will be interesting to see whether Bazics there, who is in the lead at the moment, is going to succumb to the pressure that Donati behind him in second place is starting to put on him. Let's see where the gap is as they come up to the second timing sector. As they head down towards the chase over the crest, the timing is just there, and the gap is 2.1. Wow! Donati has halved the gap between himself and the leader, just over the top of the mountain there. So has Bazics got a problem, or did he just make a mistake? This is what happened to Chicken Paxo earlier, where Bazics was really applying pressure to Chicken Paxo, and Chicken Paxo eventually ate concrete as he went over the mountain. Now it looks like Donati is working for his teammate and doing the very same thing. So this ain't over yet. So here we go, round to start another lap. Let's see who we've got in movers and shakers. Rusty GT there, still in fifth, and DB Kung coming out of the pits there after his repairs. Now he's a lap behind, so he needs to let these drivers behind, but it looks like he's getting in the way of Donati there. Donati flashed these lights furiously, and he has got through. So DB Kung is off the lead lap at the moment. These guys will drop back effectively a lap once they come in for their pit stops, but that gap, despite having to navigate around DB Kung there, Donati's got the gap down to 1.6. So this is really starting to happen now. This is a surprise for me. I don't know if Bazics has picked up a little bit of damage unseen by us, but he's definitely not had the pace that he had a few laps ago. So let's have a quick look. Oh, the YouTube chat's gone a little bit quiet, so let's hear from you guys. Who do you think's going to win out on this one? I know we've still got an awful long way to go. So Valtteri's still there in a solid third. He's got quite a gap over Chris V-Dub in fourth. So plenty of space there. Rusty GT hanging on there to fifth, and then last of the non-pitters is Baba in sixth. So notice Brave Corporal has gone for the pits. Should be just, and it's come out of the pits, but for some reason is not showing as having completed the pit stop. So that may be down that he didn't actually change his tyres. So may have just repaired any damage he's got. But look at that gap now. Donati on Bazics. Look at that. Donati is winding Bazics in at an absolutely rapid rate. I'll tell you what, is Donati going to have a look at Hell's Corner? He's going to have a look at Hell's Corner. He's down the inside. They're going side by side. Bazics tries to hang him out, but he can't. Oh, they just touched there. They've both kept going in the right direction, but I'm not quite sure exactly what happened there. But that was, Donati went down the inside there, but Bazics hung on around the outside. I think they just had a little bit of contact, so they've just kept their same positions for now. So that is costing them pace, because they got past and disappeared up the road from DB Kung, who has now caught them up. But he is a lap behind, so DB Kung looks like he's third there, but he's in fact 1 lap behind at the moment. So Donati still putting the pressure on there on the back of Bazics. Let's go on board. Here we go. Look at these fantastic shots we've got here as we head up over Skyline and then down what is probably the trickiest section of the track as we head through the S's and into the Dipper. car goes light as you go over the top, but you're trying to apply the brakes, so it's so easy to get a lock up through there. Then here we go, through the dipper, dropping off a cliff, and then back on the gas as we wind our way down towards Forest Elbow. Now, this could be an opportunity as we ride on board with Donardi. We've got Bassett in our sights. Can he get a good run out of Forest Elbow there as we head down towards the chase? This is one of the most common overtaking points of this circuit, and we'll look like we're going to go for it. We're moving to the right. This is not the ideal line for the right-hander, for the right-hander, but yeah, we've got it done. Oh, and Bassett's coming back at us as we look back, but it looks like we've got the move done this time. So that is Donardi up into the lead and Bassett's down to second. So I'm going to have to get the calculator out in a minute to try and work out where Chicken Paxo needs to finish, because I think he's going to need to finish third, so that he's really going to have to show some pace to get back up to third. I think if he gets third, I think he wins. I think he wins the championship. It is that tight. So let's just move back to our trackside cameras. So Donardi's through and pulling a gap already. And in fact, it looks like DB Kung behind Bazux is carrying more pace and wants to unlap himself. But I think, knowing DB Kung as I do, I think he will probably stay behind for now. Because we're going up to half an hour into this race. Oh, was that a little mistake there for Bazux? I noticed something in the background. I thought he looked a bit out of line, but he's already dropped over a second to Donardi. So Donardi seemed to be sitting on a little bit of pace there earlier in the race, and then obviously lost his teammate. Donardi had a good pace at the start, pulled away, then made a mistake, and then his teammate in front of him. Oh, and talking of his teammate, is that Chicken Paxo made another mistake? He's gone back to the pits. I think that's all over. I can't see Chicken Paxo coming back from that. That is a real turn up for the books. It's all kicked off in the first half hour of this race. That looked to me like Chicken Paxo was in the wall at the dipper. So when we thought this was going to take a couple of hours to boil up, it's over the top of the pan in 30 minutes. So Chicken Paxo, oh, and that looks like actually Bassett's letting DB Kung by. He may have known. So DB Kung is on a different lap. So Bassett's obviously realised that DB Kung was carrying quite a lot of pace there. So he's let him unlap himself. And I think Bassett's is playing the long game here, because I think what he's doing is looking at where Chicken Paxo is. He's had 2 pit stops in the first half hour. He just needs to take it steady now, because the chance of Chicken Paxo picking up any big slug of points is quite slim. So I think Bazux is going for a safe option here, and I don't blame him. If I was in that Bentley, I would be doing exactly the same thing. So I think that is a good bit of forward thinking there by Bazux, because there's no point in risking it. Keep off the curb, allow for your tyre wear. He's got nearly 10 seconds on Valkyrie behind him, so he just needs to keep his nose clean and can secure this championship. Or in fact, Chicken Paxo is still in the pits. He must have picked up some considerable damage there, because he is already showing back down in 10th, and the only one behind him is who was it who had that early double pit? So I think it's Groot. So he's actually dropped behind Groot as well. So it's all fallen after a fantastic 11 races for Chicken Paxo. It's all fallen apart in the last one. I think I will just pull up my points charts to make sure that I haven't done something horribly wrong there. But as far as I'm aware, I think that is where our points will be working out. But just give me 1 second. There's nothing worse than calling it and getting it wrong. Let's have a quick look. So let's just check. So 324 points for Ben Goddard and 307 for Ben Smith. They've both dropped two races. Yeah, that's right. So they've both got 2-0 scores. So yeah, 0 scores. Yeah. So they both dropped 2 rounds. Yes, as far as I can see, I'm right. So let's just do some quick calculations here on the hoof. We may get it wrong. So it's 100 points for the win. Oh, actually, it's worse than I thought. I thought it was 20 points for second place. It's actually 72. So 72. So that means that he needs 17 points. Bazix needs 17 points more if he finishes second than Chicken Paxo. So 17 points off 72. Stay with me. That will be 55. So 55 will be 55. You're going to get 48 for fourth, and you're going to get 60. Right. So in my rapid calculations there, and I hope nothing happened on screen because trying to think, calculate and commentate is a bit of a struggle for me, is that I think Chicken Paxo would need to get back up to third if Bazix finishes second for Chicken Paxo to nick the championship. And at the moment, Chicken Paxo is 11th with 2 pit stops for damage, and he's at least 1 lap off the, or in fact he's showing him 3 laps off the lead. Oh, sorry, 2 laps off the lead at the moment. So he's currently down there in 11th. So where's the next car around for him? Oh, dearie me. He's up the top of the circuit, and the car in front of him on your screen, Randy Flangepants, is the driver in front of him in 10th. He has pitted as well, and he is literally 2/3 of the way round the circuit. So it's going to be a long uphill battle. Oh, and not so much there, because Randy Flangepants has just gone off. And is that Groot? No, I'm trying to see who that was behind him. So it looks like the Bentley there, Randy Flangepants, is carrying a bit of damage, so he may well be in the pits for a bit of a repair. And talking of repair, DB Kung has gone to the pits, so he is probably gone a little early for it to be enough to get to the end. I think he's got an hour and a half to go. I think he can probably get away with about an hour and 10 minutes. So that's when you want to start watching the drivers who are going for the solid 1 stop. So let's move forward. Let's see where was that round? Yeah, so Chicken Paxo there just coming through to complete. And he's showing, I think he is +2 laps at the moment. So Bazix up the front there. Let's go back to the lead battle when the cameraman catches up. He's now 8 seconds behind Donardi, so I think he's gone for a real safe option. He's actually being slightly caught by Valtteri, who was about 9 seconds behind. A couple of drivers there that I think are worth a note. Chris V. Dub on the hand controller there, he's doing really well. Oh, I thought I was commentator's curse. He looked a bit sideways there. He's up in 4th at the moment, so he's doing really well, just keeping it clean and tidy. And another driver there who's not far behind him, he's only about 6 seconds behind Chris V. Dub, is Rusty GT, who has definitely picked the pace up as the season has gone on. And then in 6th we have Baba, who looks like he has got a little bit of damage to the front of that Ferrari. Very strange shaped Ferrari, isn't it? To the front of that Mercedes. And oh, hello, somebody off there in an Audi. I think that might have been Groot. Was that Groot? Let's have a quick look. Yes, Groot having a little bit of an adventure there. He looks like he's picked up a bit of a battering on that Audi as well. So quite a few damaged cars here working their way around the track. Oh, and Valtteri's gone for the pits. Now, Whether that is part of a planned two-stopper or whether he made a mistake, I don't know. But at the moment, he was running third, so that will put Chris V Dub up to a podium position. And if Valtteri's gone for a two-stopper here, and I think with this long to go, I think he's going to have to go two-stopper, because I don't think he can make it to the end from here. But Chris V Dub there will be up to third, but he's starting to come under a little bit of pressure from Rusty GT there, who is now fourth. So let's just move back so I can see the chat. It's all gone a bit quiet on the chat out there, guys, so I'd love to hear from you. See what people are thinking, who's going to win. So, Valtteri in the pits there. Randy Flangepants, who we saw there with a bit of damage to his Ferrari, he's gone for a second pit stop as well. But I think some of these drivers that have had multiple pit stops, I think they may come back into play a little bit later on, because it's going to be a long night. We're only just over a quarter of the way into this race, and we've seen quite a lot of adventures for several drivers already. So I think Valtteri is pitted and come back out in fifth, so he's actually in front of Baba, and he is the leader of the drivers, wherever Valtteri is on the screen. There he goes. Valtteri is the lead of the drivers who have pitted. So the only thing is, I think from Valtteri's point of view, is he's going to need a second pit stop, I believe. So this may be part of his strategy, or he may have had a little bit of an adventure. He didn't lose a lot of time through the pit stop cycle there, so I think it was probably a decision from his point of view. So let's just keep an eye on what we've got in the way of developing battles. This is the only problem we get with... Oh! And just as I said, Valtteri had been fairly careful. He's got it all wrong at the dipper, across the curb, slid into the wall, and has picked up quite a lot of damage on the right-hand side of his Bentley there. So he's only just come out of the pits, so that could be a really expensive mistake. I think next driver along is Baba, who's about 13 seconds behind, but he hasn't pitted yet. So I don't think he's going to come into play, but who that is going to work for is Chris V Dub, who was sat behind Valtteri, and now not only with a pit stop and possibly having two pit stops instead of one, Chris V Dub is sitting there in a genuine third position at the moment, I think. But somebody who's got their eye on that position is that white and grey Ferrari there of Rusty GT, who is on the comeback, having been up in the leading pack at the start, had a little mistake, but now is working his way back forward, and he's catching Chris at a very rapid rate. So let's just go to the onboard shots as we work our way down towards Forest Elbow. So Rusty GT has caught up a lot in the last couple of laps. He's now got the gap down to under a second, so let's ride on board with him and see whether he can do anything about that Porsche in front of him. It looks like he's catching it. We're heading towards the chase. It's going to look to the right, and he's through already before we even got to the tight left-hander. So it looks like Chris has lost a bit of pace there. I'm quite surprised by that, because he was quite quick early on, but can he come back? We're heading down towards Murray's. Oh, and Rusty's gone for the pits. So I reckon this must be part of a two-stopper as well. So that was a bit of a surprise. So let's just go back to our trackside cameras when we can find all the right buttons. Who else are we? So Chris V Dub is now there in a solid third. That looks, this to me, with 40 minutes gone, is the driver's going for two stops, and there's a bit of damage to be worked on there on that Ferrari as well, as you can see. So let's go. So Rusty's in the pit, so that's going to be working with Valtteri. Let's see how that works, because Valtteri's working his way down the map. Oh, Now, Valtteri, we saw have that incident at the Dipper, and it looks like he's had another one as well, because that Bentley looks seriously damaged. And it looks like it's almost crabbing its way down the Conrod Straight there. So I think that Bentley's going to be coming back into the pits on this lap. I would be surprised if he decides to stay out, because he doesn't look like he's got a lot of pace in that car, and he certainly hasn't got a lot of handling. So this is all going towards Chris V Dub, I think, at the moment. Oh, crossed the grass there at the chase. So let's have a look. Is he going to go for the pit lane? Yep, so having done his pit stop fairly well timed there, Valtteri has gone into the pits. And of course, one of the people this will play into the hands of is people like Chicken Paxo, because the more of the drivers that drop off in front of him as he works his way back up the field, it's going to make his life that much easier. So Valtteri having a double pit stop there, like Chicken Paxo's had. This ain't over yet. We've still got an hour and 20 minutes, but Chicken Paxo's got to climb from 10th and 2 or 3 laps down up to 3rd. It's not impossible, but I would say it's probably under the heading of unlikely. And of course, we're going to get into lower temperatures as the darkness comes, and we're going to get into a situation where have the top drivers got their tyre pressures right. And obviously in the dark you can't see that well either. So this race club finale is looking like it is going to get quite exciting as we head towards the end. Who else is in the pit there? Oh, Groot has gone to the pits as well. We saw him having a little bit of an incident. So fairly much looks like quite a lot of people have had incidents, apart from our current leading quadruple of Denardi, Bazix, Chris V Dub and Rusty GT. And to be fair, I should include Babber on that. Our new driver for tonight got a little bit of damage going on with that Mercedes, but he's still definitely on the pace. Currently sat there in 5th position. Where he's going to shake out once he pits, I don't know, but he certainly hasn't lost the time in the pits that the other drivers have with their incidents. So he's hanging in there. He's showing in +1 lap, but I think that's just down to the system catching up as they go across the timing slots. Up at the front, Bazix has fallen away now by about 16 seconds to Denardi. So I think Bazix is very much going for the safe option. He's just trying to keep it between the walls and hoping that nobody causes him a sort of secondary incident by spinning off in front of him and taking him out. So Bazix has just got to keep this together now for another 1 hour and 17 minutes. So let's hope Valtteri's still in the pits at the moment. I think he may be right. Oh, he's just come out of the pits actually. So he's actually still come out. It's showing him 6th. I want to be convinced by that when he go across the timing split. Now I think I saw Chicken Paxo return himself to the pits electronically, which did give him a penalty time before he was allowed to come out. So that may be why Valtteri is still... Oh no! And Valtteri's done it again! Just out of pits, and he's rattled it down the wall. Oh, he's going to be back in the pits again. This is so painful. He was, I think, trying to defend his position there from Marge. He'd just come out of the pits in front of him, but oh, sorry, I think Valtteri's actually just come out just behind him. So he was in a battle there for position, but Marge, and it looks like Valtteri is still going at the moment, and he doesn't look like he's got too many handling problems, but Marge there was defending his position, and Valtteri just went straight in the wall there for the 3rd time. So, but despite all those adventures of Valtteri, he's still there in 7th place. So I don't know where that puts, say for example, Chicken Paxo. Well, you see Chicken Paxo's only 1/4 lap behind him. So he can catch Valtteri, he can catch Marge, because I think all those drivers in front of him have to pit again. Babber is going to have to pit, so I think most of the drivers now that haven't pitted will be going for single stops. Groot's there still in the pits at the moment. Hopefully he'll rejoin us shortly, but it's not totally all over Chicken Paxo. He's up to 9th at the moment, so where's his next target along the road? DB Kung is about a third of the way round, and then I think, yeah, see, we've got Valtteri, we're just behind Marge there, and Valtteri's staying out, so the damage can't be too bad. So we've got Marge, Valtteri and DB Kung there, all very close together, and not out of the sights of Chicken Paxo. So Chicken Paxo, through these, could get himself up to 6th. And not inconceivably, when Babber pits, he might even be in front of him. So he could work his way back up to 3rd. It's not impossible. This one is going to be a little bit of a slow burner. But we are... Oh! And Valtteri got all sideways there, and he's falling back into the clutches of DB Kung. So DB Kung there in the blue Ferrari is after the 7th place of Valtteri in the yellow Bentley. So I think Valtteri is suffering with that damage, and that is causing him handling problems by the look of it. It just doesn't look as stable, that Bentley, as it did earlier. But can he get through the S's all right? Yeah, this is one of the trickier parts of the circuit, down the dipper, yeah. So he's kept it all away from the walls there, which is the critical bit. But DB Kung there, just behind. Oh, no, that's going to be painful. And I think DB Kung is going to be all over the Bentley as he goes down the hill. Look at that, he's right under the rear wing of the Bentley. Pulls out to his right as they go over the crest side by side, and it looks like DB Kung is already in front. He is, as before they even got to the chase. So that, I think, reflects the bad exit that Valtteri had out of Forest Elbow there. So Groot has rejoined us, that's great to see. Brave Corporal's into the pits, that's for his first obligatory stop. We're at 1 hour 13 to go, so I'm expecting a flutter of pit stops for those that haven't. Oh, and talking of that, Babber has gone for the pits. Now 1 hour 12 minutes. I think he can make it to the end from that. If he feels it right to the top, he might be able to pull that off. So if he can, that could give him quite a good position. So I'll be interested to see though where Babber comes out compared to that pack that was behind him, because he's currently in the pits in 5th, whereas Marge, Valtteri, DB Kung were all fairly close behind. Then Chicken Paxo is about 20 seconds off this battle for 6th. I still don't like the look of that handling at the moment of Valtteri's Bentley. It really just doesn't look comfortable to him. Oh, and he's just almost brushing the BP livery down the side of the wall there. He seems to have got it under control. I think he's decided to stay out for this sort of middle 40-minute stint and just live a bit rather than have the cost of another pit stop. But he's going to compromise him time, because he's probably going to lose a few seconds a lap having to drive around the problems caused by the damage to his Bentley there. But Valtteri there hanging on in there, and it's great to see we've still got all 12 drivers at the start of the race are still all on the track. Now what we need to keep an eye on, who is going to pull the trigger first when it comes to pit stops, because Donardi at the moment is in the high ground with the lead, and coming through next, dropping off quite a long way, I must say, is Bazux. He's just coming across the line now, so he's fallen a full 24 seconds behind Donardi. Now I think he's playing the safe game. I think he can see how many people are pitting. But I can see Chicken Paxo working his way up at least to 5th. Oh, and Babber's still in the pit, so that must have been a damage by the look of it. I think he's just exiting now. I think we'll see him in the background there. Yeah, there he is, just coming out. So he did have some damage to that Mercedes, which I can see has been repaired, but he did seem to be in the pits there for an awful long time. So we'll see what happens when he goes across the first timing line, because I'm sure he's not fifth anymore. And the one gap we want to keep an eye on is that one between DB Kung in 8th and Chicken Paxo in 9th, which is around about 20 seconds at the moment. So here we go. Oh, another driver getting caught out with cold tyres there was Baba. Just brushed the wall there as he was coming up through the cutting. So drivers getting caught out really badly here tonight with these cold tyres. So we've had quite a lot of accidents on first laps. So that's everybody bar the top 3 has been in for their pit stop. So let's see where the gap is on Chicken Paxo. Chicken Paxo, interestingly, now he's trying to unlap himself from Chris V Dub. Now I think Chris V Dub, running in 3rd, probably won't want to get into any battles with Chicken Paxo. So we'll probably decide to let him through. Well, that's the decision I would take, because you're in different battles here. Chicken Paxo's a lap behind, and in fact it's Chicken Paxo needs to get to the position that Chris V Dub is in if he wants to win the championship. And you can see him getting quite excited with his flashing his lights there behind Chris V Dub. Was Chris V Dub doesn't really have any reason to let him by, apart from being courteous and letting Chicken Paxo go on and fight his own battles. I think, personally, from my point of view, they're in different races at the moment, totally different strategies. So I'd be tempted to let him by. So looks like Chris V Dub is he gonna let him by Hell Corner? No. Let's go on board, I think, with Chicken Paxo, because I think we're going to get some great onboard shots here. Oh, we just missed it. So, by the looks of it, that Chris V Dub let him by as they exited the first corner there. So, don't blame him for doing that. I'd have done exactly the same thing. Now, if Chicken Paxo's got good pace, I think he should, Chris V Dub should just hang on to the back of that red and yellow Audi and see if he can drag him along there. So who else have we got with a bit of action at the moment? Let's have a look. We haven't spoken much about Brave Corporal tonight, so let's just give him a little bit of screen time, as we're just waiting for drivers to work out when they're going to pit. So Brave Corporal's had a few adventures tonight, but has now completed his pit stop, so I think he will be running to the end there. The only driver we've got tonight in the Lambo. Oh no! Commentator's curse, and he's in the wall. Oh, and it's in the wall again as he comes down through the S's, takes a bit of a shortcut here, and again. Oh dear me! I think that was a full house of 5 impacts there. So I don't know whether he can get that car going again, or if he's going to have to return to the pits. But I think that was a full house of commentator's curse there. So no, he's returned the car to the pits, which I'm not surprised about. And in fact, he's retired. Oh, and torn the pit lane. Here we go. Bazix is in the pits. So this is our pretender to the championship. He's got one hand on the trophy at the moment. He's gone slightly early on the pit stop. He's got 1 hour 6 minutes to go. I don't think he's going to have lots of delay on anything to do with damage. So he's just pulled up into the pits now. Now, I think he's fairly safe and coming out in front of Rusty GT. He will be stationary for at least 30 seconds, but Rusty here is just heading down the Conrod Straight. So it's just whether Bazix will get out in front of him. Now we know Bazix was losing a lot of time from the leader, from Donardi. So it's not impossible that Rusty could have done the undercut by pitting earlier but it all suggests to me I think that Rusty is going for a two-stopper, so that might just be a short-lived third place, or could even be effectively a second place. So Chris V Dub's gone through in front of Bazix, and so has Rusty GT. So Rusty GT has pitted, but I think he's going to have to pit again. And Bazix is still in the pits. He hasn't moved as yet. So I imagine he's rolling. So Bazix is going to come out behind Rusty GT, and I'm not going to get me calculator out again, because that'll just distract me from the screen for too long, to work out where Chicken Paxo needs to be if Bazix finishes third. But the one who is really flying high at the moment, as we start to see the bright lights shining through as the sun sets here at Bathurst, is Chris V Dub. So he is up to second. Now he does need to pit, but he's gone this long into the race and done well, not made any significant mistakes, so he's had to pit. So he is absolutely flying there at the moment. So who is that in the Mercedes there? I think that's Baba. Is he working on Valtteri there? We got a car off. Who was off? 80, is it 22? No, Baba's not off. Or is, no, it's not Randy Flangepants. I'm trying to see who is rolling there. What's that? I thought, oh no, Valtteri's heading towards the pits again. Maybe that problem was caused by the and Marge is in the pits as well, but that's Valtteri heading for the pits as well. So maybe that accident was caused by the damage he suffered earlier. Now, the only good thing is here, Valtteri can change his strategy. He can go for a one more stint or get him to the end, so he can fill up, put a fresh set of tyres on. As long as he keeps it out the wall, he can go to the end. So that will be his pit stops done. I think the one that hasn't had his pit stops done is Rusty, because I think he's going to have to go for a second pit stop. So let's have a look where our leader is at the moment. Now he's just coming up to complete his lap. Let's see whether he's going to decide to go for the pits. I think he will go for one more. Yep, I'm right. I think he'll go and do it right on the hour. Oh, and Rusty GT has gone for the pits. Now, I'm quite surprised by his timing, because I thought he would have gone a bit later on, because I'm imagining he pitted because maybe he had damage. I thought he might have converted it into a 3 40-minute sectors, but he's gone to the pits now, and obviously will fill up, and he is able to go to the end, but obviously he's going to get 1 hour's use out of those tyres, where if he'd done 3 40-minute stints, he would have had he'd have had the best 2/3 out of those tyres. But I'm just the commentator. Drivers know what they're doing. So Rusty's gone for that. So that puts Bazix up to third. So I think he will jump Chris V Dub when Chris V Dub pulls the trigger and goes to the pits, which I don't think will be that far away. But it's not going to be this lap. I think Chris V Dub is going to go for one more lap. But he is still currently running second. I wonder if he's hoping for a moment in the sun that Donardi goes to pit. So that would put Chris V Dub as the leader, at least for one lap. I'd love a moment in the sun like that, so I wouldn't blame Chris V Dub if he does just that. It's all a little bit quiet on the YouTube chat. I'd love to hear a little bit more from everybody out there. I know quite a few were watching us earlier, so it would be great to hear from you there, just to see who you think is going to secure this championship, because at the moment I'd say it's in the hands of Bazix, who's currently in third, but I think he's in reality a second place. Chicken Paxo has cut the gap down to that battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, down to just 11 seconds. So he could be working forward on that one. I think giving him another, I don't know, probably 20 minutes, half an hour, he could work his way back up to about 5th. I think he's going to struggle to get to that third place he needs to nick this championship. So let's just have a quick look who's doing what. Hop back with our leader, who is working his way back up the mountain, so he's decided not to pit at the moment. So the next one we are expecting to pit is Chris V Dub, who's just heading his way down the Conrod Straight. So here we go, we're just about to click over half race distance. We're 1 hour in, we've got 1 hour to go. Headlights are on, we're heading into the dark, so this still isn't quite over. The championship is not quite yet decided.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
So Chris V Dub is staying out as well. He's going long on this first stint because they're over half race distance there. Just him and Donardi are the only two that have either fielded or kept it out of the wall long enough to do the longer first stint than the second stint will be. So is anybody creeping up on anybody? The one who is creeping up a little bit is Chicken Paxo there. He's working his way up onto Marge at the moment. Chicken Paxo currently in 8th, Marge in 7th. He's got that gap down. Probably about 20 minutes ago that was about a 20-second gap. It's now a 7.5 second gap. But the battle for 7th, 8th, and 5th, 6th and 7th has spread out compared to what it was a little while ago. So Chicken Paxo is not giving up. We've seen already in the first hour how people can have so many little adventures into the wall and have to go to the pits, and that can throw everything upside down. Particularly, for example, if Donardi has an incident and that gives the lead to Bazux, that's going to make Chicken Paxo's job even harder, but he's not giving up. He's still hanging in there and giving it his best go as he can. So Donardi's pulled the trigger. He's gone for the pits. So he's just over the hour in. So this should be, as long as he keeps on schedule, his only pit stop of the evening. Now it'll be interesting to see whether Chris V Dub is close enough to be able to snatch the lead for one lap, or will he decide to follow Donardi into the pits and do that split between the two. Just depends how much fuel he's got left. Donardi's already stationary. Mechanics working on the car. So Chris V Dub just coming up to the chase. Is he going to pull the trigger into the pit lane? Yes, he is. So both of our leaders are into the pits. So let's see how this works out for Bazux, who is our effective championship leader if things were to finish as they are at the moment. So Donardi is rolling and out of the pits. So Chris V Dub is the only one left to pit. Oh, Baba is back into the pits. Now this is going to help Chicken Paxo, because I think that's going to drop him down back behind Chicken Paxo. Baba had quite a long first pit stop, and that wasn't that long ago. He managed to keep it out of the wall, so I imagine he's probably had a little bit of an incident there. So where is Bazux going to fit out in front of Chris V Dub? This is what we want to know. Can Bazux get that second place? Because that's where he needs to be to really get a second hand just fingering that championship trophy. So it looks like Bazux is through. Chris V Dub is still in the pit lane, and he's not even rolling at the moment as far as I can see. So Bazux putting some good clean air between himself and Chris V Dub. So Bazux up to second, Chris V Dub down to third. And interesting to see that Bazux, where he is on the circuit, has got big air between himself in front and behind, so not likely at the moment to get caught up in anybody else's incidents. So Chris V Dub still in the pits. I expect him to come out in the front of Rusty GT. Let's just see where Rusty is at the moment. Rusty is working his way. Rusty's had that extra pit stop, so I'm quite sure that Chris V Dub, yep, Chris V Dub rolling. He's looking at a podium here at the last race. Now what I'm going to have to do, and this may cause a fuse to go in my brain. Oh, Joe Grossi's back. Oh, first ever pit stop, forgot to add enough fuel, rookie. Don't worry, Joe, you're still in with a shout. It's a long race tonight. We've had an awful lot of action in the first 1 hour 5 minutes. I'm expecting a similar amount in the second half of the race, particularly as we go into the dark. Apexes aren't quite so clear, tyre pressures may not be quite so spot on, so grip might not be quite so good. So all sorts of things could come into play in this race. So let's just have a quick look what this is going to do. I think could be interesting for Chris V Dub in this championship. So Babber is out of the pits after his fueling mistake there. He is now running in 8th. So this is opening it up for Chicken Paxo, who is now only 4 seconds behind Marge. So I think we're going to hop on board with him, and we'll see what. And then it's 6 seconds from DB Kung back to Marge. So for just 10 seconds gain, Chicken Paxo is going to be up to 5th. Now, what I was interested to see was what this was going to do for Chris V Dub, because he's currently 9th in the championship. 3rd place would give him 60 points, so that's going to give him 162. So he's going to be ahead of Stormfly. He's not going to be. He's going to be ahead of a Nun. So he's going to jump 2 spots, so that's going to get him up to 7th in the championship, and it looks like it's going to put Rusty GT up into 7th position, I think. No, maybe even 6th. So that is going to have a bit of an effect on the championship there. So let's just go back so we can keep track of everybody on YouTube. So just, I think, as I was looking away, I think Marge has made a bit of a mistake there at Murray's. I was doing the maths and unfortunately wasn't totally focused on the screen there. So that is Chicken Paxo fairly quickly from 8th up to 7th with Babber's mistake, and then 7th to 6th with Marge's mistake. So who is next on the target list for Chicken Paxo? Well, that's DB Kung, who is 12 seconds up the road. And then we'll have, because people are on different laps, we'll have to see how that fits with Rusty GT and Chris V Dub. But I think they are, because even though Rusty GT has pitted twice, he's not had major damage to contend with, and Chris V Dub has done a pretty impeccable race. So he is quite a way in front. So I see Chicken Paxo maybe catching DB Kung. I don't see him getting any higher, but incident's going to happen. It's going dark. It's getting trickier. This race is not over yet, and the championship certainly isn't. So let's have a quick look at our leader. He's working his way up over the mountain. Made a little mistake earlier on the race, dropped to 3rd. And then Chicken Paxo, who had got past him, made his own mistake. So that meant Donardi could get back by him, and then Donardi then got back by Bazix in a great manoeuvre there. Nice little tussle between those two. But Bazix got through as they went down to the chase, so he's running a pretty tidy race. And my experience of watching and commentating on Donardi, he's a race that generally doesn't make mistakes. He did at Spa. Had a bad round there, so it can go wrong for him, but it doesn't go wrong that often. So he looks fairly sound out there at the moment, and he's 40, that's it, 40 seconds up the road from Bazix. I think Bazix there in the Bentley, when we find him, hang on, right a bit cameraman, right a bit, there we go. He's taking it just really steady, not taking great chunks out of curbs or anything like that. He knows he's in the championship winning position. So just needs to keep it tidy, not make any mistakes, make allowances for those tyres starting to wear. So I think he's fairly safe there, because in 3rd we've got Chris V Dub, who is climbing the mountain. The change in elevation between the pit lane and where Chris V Dub is heading up towards now is an incredible 174 metres. And this is in fact a public road. when we get some of the higher shots, you'll see there's properties on the side of the road. There's wineries and businesses on the side of this road. So the rest of the year, when there's not holding racing, there is just general access. So it's just a normal road. And just back to Chris V Dub there. He's just working his way up on the back of Randy Flangepants, who is currently running in 10th. I know he's had a couple of extra visits to the pit lane, so that has cost him. But he is still out there and he's still running. So let's have a, what's the gap? Chicken Paxo, we'll keep an eye on that gap there for Chicken Paxo in 6th, up to DB Kung in 5th. Because at the moment it's showing it's 10 seconds. So I'll be interested to see if he can take any chunks out of that one. So another driver that's performed well in this race, Rusty GT. He's certainly shown a turn of speed as this season has gone on. Had some good results in the last few races. I think had a very good qualifying at Silverstone, and he's been running a good steady 4th in this race. Was up there with the lead battle at the start. I think had one little mistake where he needed the pit, but recovered from that pretty well, and has done his final pit stop, so he'll be there to the end now, as I think all at least the top 4 will be. I'm not sure about DB Kung, and I'm not sure, in fact, I can't recall if Chicken Paxo needs to pit again as well. I think he pitted about 1 hour 15, so commentator's curse is strong again. As I mentioned, Rusty GT was doing well and keeping it out of the wall. Had a bit of an adventure there over by the S's, but seemed to manage to keep it down to glancing blows rather than heavy impacts with the wall. So I think he got away with that one. But that's exactly what I was saying, that, you know, someone like Rusty has an incident, that is going to elevate Chicken Paxo another place. So at the moment, Bazux is relying on Chris V Dub, Rusty GT and DB Kung to keep the likes of Chicken Paxo away from him, because if Chicken Paxo gets up the 3rd, he's got the championship. Anything less, it goes Bazux's way. So let's have a look who else is doing what. DB Kung had a relatively quiet race. I think he's had a bit of damage on those after the in the first half of the race, but I believe he's now completed all his pit stops as well. So he is there in a good solid 5th at the moment, but is, I think, being caught by Chicken Paxo at a reasonably quick rate. I think we might see Chicken Paxo appear in the background, though we won't. Because the next one behind Chicken Paxo is Marge, so I'm not sure. I'm waiting for the timing to update as to how far Marge is back. So Marge is about 17 seconds behind DB Kung, so not an unbridgeable gap, and obviously if DB Kung makes a mistake, it becomes eminently more bridgeable. So while we're waiting for that Chicken Paxo DB Kung battle to bubble up, we'll just pop back to Valtteri, who had a very strong start to the race and then was having a few adventures with the wall. Has had a couple of extra pit stops, but now is fueled, I believe, to the end. So if he can keep it on the straight and narrow, he might be able to make a few inroads forwards. So he's 9.6 behind Marge. So there is that pack of Valtteri, Marge, Chicken Paxo and DB Kung that aren't actually very far from each other. Oh dear, who's that off? I think that's Marge. So just as I mentioned, Marge wasn't that far back. Valtteri has just picked up 7th place there, as Marge had a spin coming out of Hell Corner, a little bit too much on the throttle there. So I think as we click over the timing line, which is just coming up after Griffin's, I think we'll see that Valtteri has been elevated to 7th and Marge has dropped to 8th. Then that is exactly the case. So Valtteri back up to 7th, so he's recovering from his adventures earlier on. It just needs to keep it between the walls and not in the walls. So let's see where Chicken Paxo is getting on his hunting down of DB Kung. We're not seeing... Oh, I'm on the wrong vehicle there. I do apologise. I thought I was on DB Kung. So there we go. DB Kung just coming over the crest there. And you can just see in the background there was just appearing was Chicken Paxo. So Chicken Paxo now 5.5 seconds behind. So he's gaining about a second a lap on DB Kung at the moment. So you can see the light is really starting to drop now. Oh, and we have lost somebody there. Who is that? Basics is still there. Chicken Paxo still there. Valtteri Baba. We've just lost somebody. Groot we've still got. Randy Flangepants we've still got. Baba we've still got. Marge we've still got. Valtteri we've still got. Chris V Dub we've lost. Our third place driver, he runs remotely from a truck cab. He's lost connection. Now this could change things. No, Chris V Dub's still there. I take it back. I was getting all excited. Was it Chris V Dub we lost? Just bear with me a second. I'm just catching up with my own stream. We lost somebody there for a period of time when it dropped to 10 drivers, and now it's gone back up to 11. It was Chris V Dub. He's in the pits. I thought I was very much mistaken, but I wasn't. Chris V Dub is having to rejoin from the pits, having it disconnected. Now, I don't think he's going to tumble massively down the order because he was one of the drivers that had kept really, really tidy. However, it is going to affect possibly the championship because he is going to drop down at least behind Rusty GT and maybe behind DB Kung, and more importantly Chicken Paxo, who is rapidly catching DB Kung. So if we expect him to overtake DB Kung, he will be up to 5th, and Chris V Dub to drop back, he will be 4th. So there will be just one place between Chicken Paxo and the championship. This couldn't be tighter. We've still got just over 40 minutes remaining, and we've had a season of 12 races. We've been everywhere. We've been Hungaroring, we've been to Silverstone, and it's all come down to this last endurance race for Race Club at Bathurst. So Chris V Dub, he's now dropped to 4th. Oh, and somebody's off at the first corner, trying to see who that is. I think it might be Randy Flangepants. Yeah, Randy Flangepants is just getting back going again. So he's just had another little adventure there. We're still waiting for Chris V Dub to be able to get rolling out of the pit. He's still 4th at the moment, so he's still critically ahead of Chicken Paxo. So it just depends how long the stewards hold him in the pits for. So I'm trying to see where, let's see where DB Kung, and it looks like he will hold on to 4th place because he is rolling, he's out of the pits. So the gap ahead of DB Kung was a lot more than I expected. So I possibly hyped that up slightly more than reality showed. Oh, hello. DB Kung is having a little bit of an adventure there, all over the grass, the gravel and the curbs. So I think that is bringing the inevitability of DB Kung up to the back of him, but they are still a good 3/4 of a lap behind Chris V Dub. So Chris V Dub can hang in there. Basics will be buying him a couple of points at the bar tonight. So let's just go on board with. Get back to a reasonable shot. There we go. This is sitting on board with Chicken Paxo, chasing down DB Kung as we go through the chase. Hard on the brakes for the left-hander. Look how much distance we take out of DB Kung there. So we're heading down to Murray's, the final corner. Is there a chance here? He's showing his face. I think that's possibly a little bit optimistic. I think his next chance is probably into Griffin's. So, oh, here we go into Hale Corner. It looked like Chicken Paxo really did catch up a lot there. Oh, someone's in the pits. Valtteri's back in the pits again. Oh no! Valtteri, what are you doing? He's still running in 9th place though. I think Groot's had quite a few adventures in the pits. So's Randy Flangepan. So hopefully these guys... oh, Valtteri, no, he's still there in 9th. So I'm not quite sure how that will shake out for him. But we're concentrating on this battle here at the moment for 5th place. So we're looking to the right as we go into the cutting. Chicken Paxo's looking to go any side that he can. Now, it's quite technical through this next section with concrete walls both sides. So unless DB Kung in front of us makes a mistake, I don't see Chicken Paxo here being able to get by until we get down to the chase again at the end of Conrod Straight. Down through the S's, and then a real drop off here of the dipper. The ground just totally falls away beneath you on that corner there. So here we go, Forest Elbow. This is where Chicken Paxo that we ride on board with needs to get it absolutely spot on, because he needs to get a perfect exit, and to me it doesn't look like he has. Trying to get Slipstream off that blue Ferrari in front, but I just don't think he's close enough. It looked like DB Kung was going a little bit defensive there by going to the right, but it seems like Chicken Paxo's caught up with that blue Ferrari in front really quickly, but hasn't actually now got particularly maybe the pace to get by. Oh, and Valtteri's been disqualified. I don't know what has caused that. That's very unusual. Oh, and DB Kung goes wide at Murray's. Now it looks like Chicken Paxo has got a great opportunity to go down the inside here. It looks like we're going into Hell Corner. And we're past. That's DB Kung in the rear view mirror there with Chicken Paxo. So great job there by Chicken Paxo, hanging on. Looks like he's doing a little bit of weaving there to make sure he can keep DB Kung behind him. I'm not quite sure what everyone's going to say about that one, but there's unfortunately Valtteri there's been disqualified. I don't know what his offence was, but it's very unusual for us to see a disqualification. So that puts Chicken Paxo to 5th. Now he needs to be in 3rd to win this championship, and we've only got 38 minutes of this 2-hour race remaining. So and Randy Flanspants has had another adventure there, and it looks like in the background there he's still having it. So I think we're going to have a communication there from Anthony Brown. Says weaving on the straight is a penalty in F1. He's obviously trying to get Chicken Paxo disqualified there. Actually, I thought, and the Brownster will correct me, I'm sure there is something about weaving in Formula 1, but I think there's more about moving in the braking zone. But I think the manoeuvre there may get the interest of the stewards, but it would be an initial slap on the wrist and don't do it again, because I think Alonso had a bit of that, one of the F1 races this year, but I can't remember exactly which one, but he was meandering, shall we say, from side to side. So Randy Flangepants there, still running in 10th place at the moment. Oh, and that Bentley of his looks a little bit unstable. Brownson's going to be back. I can see a comment popping up. See, I do love people to get involved with YouTube on the chat, and if they're as comical as what Anthony Brown is, he should be on here on the commentating, not just putting slightly dubious comments in the YouTube chat. So I think you need to stand up and be counted and get behind the microphone, Anthony, rather than just causing trouble at a distance. So, causing trouble, let's have a look. Who else have we got that's like to have something going on? Chicken Paxo's now 4.5 seconds ahead of DB Kung. I think his problem is now going to come. Where is he on the track now? He's heading up towards Skyline. And Chris V Dub is just going through Hal Corner, so that's a good 3/4 of a second, 3/4 of a lap even. That was a bit of a Murray Walker, wasn't it? 3/4 of a lap in front, and just while we're on board with Chris V Dub, he's just lapping Marge there. And Marge is still running in a strong 7th place at the moment. Babber in 8th. So someone was suggesting Babber wasn't one to watch, but I think he certainly is. Oh, we've got more chat coming in on YouTube. So let's have a look as to who we've got moving on who. I do think we might get a little bit of quietness until we get anybody dropping a bit of a clanger. Running up the front, Bazix, who is our lead protagonist at the moment for the championship, is running second, but he's now 45 seconds behind Donardi. And I think he's definitely playing the long game here. He's kept an eye on what's happening with Chicken Paxo, and now he's been working his way down the grid and now working his way back up the grid. But you can see he's in 5th, but he probably realises there's quite a gap between himself and where Chicken Paxo is. And Chicken Paxo only needs to get 2 positions, which, you know, doesn't sound a lot, but in reality, that's 3/4 of a lap just to get to Chris V Dub. And I think you find there's another lap to get to Rusty GT. So where's Rusty GT on the track? He's up on Skyline, and Chris V Dub. So yeah, it's roughly about a lap and a half, I think, that Chicken Paxo is behind Rusty GT. So that's a long way to catch up, but mistakes can happen, and it could lose you. You lose 30 seconds in the pits, plus repair time, plus trundling down the pit lane. So it probably costs you a good sort of 90 seconds. So that's 3/4 of a lap. So not impossible. Things could. Things happen with Rusty or with Chris V Dub. It could bring Chicken Paxo into play. So, but Chris V Dub, to his credit, has had a cracking race tonight. He's kept it nice and steady. I feel so sorry for him that he had that disconnect. But just to show how well he was doing, he jumped. He was 3rd at the disconnect, and he only dropped to 4th, having left the session, rejoined, been held in the pit lane, and then released. So it just shows just how far up the road he was from the drivers behind him. So Babber might be working up towards, I was just watching at the times flashing by. I don't think Babber is too far behind Marge. Well, this is not something you hear in Formula 1, because I've just had Valtteri's excuse for disqualification. Is that he got disqualified because he needed the wee during the stop, and the car rolled backwards as I didn't get back in time. I think that involves the 7 Ps, involving poor piss preparation prevents poor performance. No, that doesn't work, does it? But I think you get the intention of what I'm trying to say there. So really, I should be dragging Valtteri into the commentary box, because that was part of the pre-race requisite. But I did actually say anybody that rage quit. So if you P quit, which is what Valtteri's done, I suppose he does circumnavigate that particular rule. So, well, it is great. We've only lost 1 driver of the 12. I'll allow Valtteri, because he's still in the pits and was disqualified for third-party matters, shall we say. So we've still got 11 of the 12 drivers that started the race. So let's see where Babber is, who we are watching at the moment, as he crosses the line. Yeah, he's 10 seconds behind Marge now, so he has dropped back a little bit. So we're just coming up to 3/4 race distance. So for anyone who is particularly interested, just while we've got a little bit of a lull in proceedings, where we are in Australia, because obviously Bathurst is in Australia, we are in New South Wales, and we're about 125 miles west of Sydney. So if that gives you a rough idea of where we are at globally. Obviously this race is famous for the Bathurst 1000. Generally the home of the V8 supercars, has had touring cars do it in the past, in the heyday of super touring, particularly in the UK and through the various global series. But predominantly, as we know, it is the V8 supercars, which is a fantastic race series. If you get the chance to pick up live races or highlights, it's always a good one to watch. It is a bit like the super tourings of the 90s. It's all, elbows out and no quarter given, which is great to see. Oh, and Chicken Paxo is in the pits. I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was going to go to the end. So that has sealed it, I think, for Bazzux, because he's not going to get back out. He's going to drop back behind DB Kung. I think if we hop to Marge, where's Marge? Yeah, Marge is just coming through the chase. I think it's going to drop him behind. He's going to drop Chicken Paxo behind Marge as well, and I think it might to Baba as well, possibly. So I don't know whether Chicken Paxo made a mistake and was in the wall somewhere and had damage, which is why he's ended up in the pits. But no, he's going again, so that's a fairly quick pit stop. In fact, he is out of the pits, I believe. He is, so he's actually got back out in front of Marge. Now, the amount of time he was in the pits for, I think that might have only just been for fuel. I might be wrong. So that's dropped Chicken Paxo down to 6th at the moment. Obviously costing quite a lot of time in his battle trying to get back up to 3rd. So we've only just over 28.5 minutes to go. I think Marge is 7.7 behind Chicken Paxo, but what I'm interested to see is where Chicken Paxo is relative to DB Kung, and I think it's going to be quite a big gap, because where is DB Kung on the circuit? Yeah, DB Kung is just crossing the start-finish line, and Chicken Paxo there in that yellow and red Audi is completely the other end of the track. So the only chance Chicken Paxo has of catching the drivers in front of him now is if they make a mistake, and it's not impossible. We're going into the dark. It's more difficult to see the apexes and your braking points and so on, so mistakes can happen. So we've got a bit more chat coming in on YouTube. Let's see what people are talking about. Yeah, Anthony Brown says Bazzux has this. I think I'm going to have to agree with you, because there's too many things that have to align for Bazzux not to win this, because it needs Rusty GT, Chris V-Dub and DB Kung all to hit trouble of a significant level for Chicken Paxo to get that 3rd. Now the other factor that could come in as we hop on board with Bazzux is that he could make a mistake, put himself in the wall and then start tumbling down the points. But the other interesting thing is, look who's in the background there of Bazzux. It is Chris V-Dub. No, sorry, it's not. It's Chicken Paxo, I meant. Sorry. So Chicken Paxo needs to get by his championship contender to be in any chance of catching those other drivers, and I can't see him doing it. And to be honest, if I was Bazzux, I would pull over so far off the track to let Chicken Paxo by. I would need a ticket to get back in, because that's not a battle that he needs to get involved in. Yeah, Anthony Brown is referring to the possibility of someone having a disconnection. You know, the gods of broadband could come and involve themselves in this battle, but I don't think this battle is one that at the moment Bazics is going to fight with Chicken Paxo, because I think he's just going to pull over, probably on Conrod Straight, and just wave Chicken Paxo by, because there's absolutely no reason for him to get involved in the battle with Chicken Paxo. So I would be tempted to pull over, put my indicator on, and wave him on by. Oh, and DB Kung's gone for the pits. So it wasn't just Chicken Paxo that needed a final top-up, it's also DB Kung. So this could promote Chicken Paxo back up to 5th. So that's one of the 3 drivers that he needed out of the way. Oh, Chicken Paxo took a bit too much curve there through the chase and got a little bit airborne, but he managed to collect it. So DB Kung in the pits, and it looks like Chicken Paxo is going to pass him. So that's Chicken Paxo up to 5th. So the drivers in front of him are more than the pit stop in front, so it would need a little bit of an adventure there. Oh, and look at that, it's Chris V Dub in front of Bazic. So Bazic's 2nd is catching Chris V Dub in 4th. And in fact, now we could come up to all sorts of conspiracy theories here, couldn't we? Not that we do this kind of thing at Race Club UK, but obviously, for example, if Bazics was to hit the wall and Chris V Dub to hit the wall, that would really fall into the hands of Chicken Paxo. Well, I know we're talking centre type tactics here, and I don't believe that Chicken Paxo is that kind of driver. But Chicken Paxo is getting very, very close to the back of Bazics here, and Bazics wants to have no part of this. He wants to be out of the way and gone. There's no benefit at all for Bazics to hold up Chicken Paxo. He just needs to let him by and get out of it and just continue his own race, which is what he's been doing all evening. So having that hassle could of Chris V Dub, of Chicken Paxo. I'll get there in a minute, bear with me, it's been a long race. So Bazics just needs to let Chicken Paxo by, I think, because there is no benefit in Bazics holding him up, but Bazics is holding him up. I don't think this is the best strategy for that blue and yellow Bentley of Bazics to be holding up the red and yellow Audi of Chicken Paxo. He just needs to let him go. Oh no! Here we go! Did they come together there? It looked like Chicken Paxo was lunging in at Murray's. I thought there was going to be a lunge there. What is Bazics thinking? This is not the way to win a championship. He just needs to let Chicken Paxo go. And now we're getting into having to lap Chris V Dub, who's in front of these two. So Chris V Dub will be getting the blue flags to let Bazics through. And as Chris V Dub has nobody battling him in front or behind, I'll just be letting him go. But Chicken Paxo is still there, and he's still battling away with... Let's go on board here, because this... I don't understand why Bazics is holding up Chicken Paxo unless he thinks he's behind him, but you can see, you should be able to see on his dash where Chicken Paxo is. By getting involved in a battle with Chicken Paxo, Bazics is opening himself to possibly having a mistake, having contact with the wall, and obviously that plays in the Chicken Paxo's hands because he needs Bazics to score less points. So we've come up with just under 22 minutes to go. Here we go, down round Forest Elbow. Now, is Chicken Paxo going to get by this time as we head down Conrod Straight? It looks like Bazics is making it hard time for him. I don't understand why, I really don't. But this time I think he might have got it done. Chicken Paxo is alongside Bazics. He's on the ideal side for the right hand part of this corner, but as they come up to the left, Bazics is holding him off again. I am really surprised by this. He just needs to let him go. This is how you lose championships, not how you win them. Why are they battling so hard? Chicken Paxo, I understand it, but Bazzocks, he doesn't need this. This is great for us to watch, and it looks like Chicken Paxo may have got it done this time. He's up the inside at Hell Corner. Is Bazzocks going to let him go? No, he's going to try and get him back on the undercut. He tucks in under the rear wing of that Audi. And it looks like, is he going to have a go at Griffin's? Chicken Paxo right up against the right-hand side of the track. He's defending the line into Griffin's. Bazzocks can do nothing about it. He needs to just let him go now. He's got nobody imminently behind him, I believe. Oh, looked like Chicken Paxo got a bit sideways there. But he's held it together. So those two are now chasing up Chris V Dub in front. So you got in this line of three here, you got in the front just disappearing out of shot there. Oh, and Bazzocks is in the wall. This has changed everything. Bazzocks is in the wall. How much damage is he carrying? We've got just 20 minutes left. And this is why I said Bazzocks didn't need to get involved in this battle. What was he thinking? So, can he carry this damage to the end of the race, or does he need to pit? If he needs to pit, it might drop him a position. This could turn things upside down. Be interesting to see where he dives to the pit. In front, we've got Chris V Dub getting himself unlapped by Chicken Paxo. So that shows Chicken Paxo has got a complete lap to catch up with Chris V Dub. So I think he's unlikely to do that with sort of less than 10 laps remaining, but it's not impossible. Let's go back to Bazzocks though. So Bazzocks had that big impact with the wall. Does he need to pit? No, he's staying out. So let's see where Rusty GT is relatively. So Rusty GT was just coming onto the Conrod straight there, and somebody was having an adventure. I think it was Marge at the chase there, but he's got about a third of a lap, has Bazzocks, on Rusty GT, or it might even be one of the third laps. Let's just see where the timings work as they go through. No, I don't think he's going to get through in time for that. So just as Bazzocks comes down to the final corner, I think we'll just get a line as he goes across. No, it must be more. It's more than the lap. So Bazzocks can take it really easy. He's now carrying that damage, which can make the handling of these cars really unpredictable. But with 18 minutes to go, that's going to be about 8 laps. Well, it depends where Donardi is, of course. Let's find Donardi. So Donardi is just going across the line now. So in fact, that will be 9 laps to the finish. So Marge, I saw having a little bit of an adventure there at the chase. He has gone to the pit, so that's he's in 8th at the moment. This is getting like Le Mans. The gaps we've got between the drivers, it's counted in laps rather than seconds. But that's what you get with these endurance races, and you can get so many curveballs of people making mistakes and so on, and that really does throw a rock into the pond for the race order at times, particularly as we've seen with Chicken Paxo, who's been down almost to the back but is now up to 5th and is relying on Chris V Dub's mobile connection to disconnect again for himself to get up any further positions. So while we're just watching Donardi here tick off another lap, I'll just give you a little bit of background on this circuit. I did a little bit of digging, so I just thought I'd give you a bit of information. Is that this circuit actually opened before World War II? It was actually in 1938. Even though it is, as I said to you earlier, as much a public road as it is a racetrack, it's 6.2 kilometres all the way round, and the Conrod Straight itself is 1.9 kilometres. So you can see why it's so important for that exit from Forest Elbow where Donardi's just come from, to where he has to hit the brakes for the chase. And even the difference between, as I mentioned before, between pit lane and skyline is 174 metres in elevation, which is quite a lot. Oh, who have we lost? We've lost... Oh, it's Valtteri, who was in the pits anyway. He was suffering that disqualification, so he wasn't able to rejoin. But we are actually just shy of 900 metres above sea level, so it's not certainly a low level track, which is why we get, from certain angles, you get some great shots into the distance of areas of New South Wales where we are at. So, as you can see by the title, this is the finale for this season of Race Club UK. New season will be coming soon. If you want to get involved, we are a Facebook-based group. So hop on to Facebook, look up Race Club UK, join the group. Really friendly set of guys. We can get you into the race chat. People like Baba are joining us for the first time tonight, so we've always got new drivers coming in. We have opening to run up to an 18 car grid, so we do have some space. Obviously with these series you do tend to lose drivers as the season goes on. So as you can see, we've still had a strong finish with 12 drivers starting out tonight. We run mini series and these more fuller championships. This is a 12 round championship, and we run mini series in between, sometimes single make, that kind of thing. So if you'd like to get on board and get racing with us, please look us up, Race Club UK. That's a great friendly bunch of drivers in ACC, and probably next season I believe we are looking to move to PS5. So if that's your thing in the ACC, that's where you want to be racing, is with Race Club. So here we go, Donardi just putting another lap there. I think that's on Groot. Total respect there to Groot, who is a few laps off the lead lap, but is hanging in there, doing a little bit of a rallycross route there at the moment. Mind the wall! No, didn't mind the wall. But is still in there, still running 9th at the moment, but looks like it's going for another set of repairs. Yeah, well, Randy Flangepants is in the pits as well, so they are battling it out at the moment for 9th. Marge there in 8th, I think, has had a couple of adventures, but has been running reasonably competitive, and particularly in this latter part of the season certainly picked up the pace and was running more to the front than what he was earlier in the season. Now Baba is running in 7th. Oh, I thought that was just giving it the commentator's curse, as Baba looked like he was about to make contact with the wall, but he's from the US of A, from Kentucky, and has joined us for the first time tonight, and has had a pretty competitive run out there tonight. Made a mistake of not putting enough fuel in, but it's still running there in 7th place, so doing well there. So hopefully we'll see Baba with us in next season as well. So we'll move up to DB Kung, and he is running there in the blue Ferrari. It was a bit of a polemeister a couple of points in the season. I think I remain. Oh, commentator's curse is strong again, getting a little bit sideways there going through the chase was DB Kung, but managed to scrabble it all up. And there's another one heading for the pits. So is this fueling for people? Are they running a bit light on fuel? Are the likes of Rusty GT and Chris V Dub, do they have enough fuel to get to the end? And Chicken Paxo, who had those couple of accidents in the first part of the race, which really has pretty much spoiled his evening. He has been fighting back. He was down, I think, about 10th or 11th at one point after his second pit stop for repairs. Has got it back up to 5th, but he needs to be up in 3rd to win this championship. And unfortunately, unless something dramatic happens in the last sort of just on 12 minutes to Rusty GT and Chris V Dub, I don't see that happening, if I'm perfectly honest. So Chris V Dub, if it had not been for the disconnection he suffered, he would be running 3rd at the moment. He's had a really strong race there tonight, and I can't mention it enough that he's a driver that actually uses a hand control and not a steering wheel and pedals. So he does fantastic stuff, because I have tried driving this simulation using the hand controller and it is very difficult. So the performances Chris puts in, I think, are absolutely stunning. And then Rusty GT, podium in the last round. I'm not sure Rusty's had a podium before. He'd only done a couple of rounds. Best result was a 4th at the second Brands Hatch race. May have done better at Silverstone. I haven't got the records of that at the moment. And we've got a bit of chat coming in. So Stuart Packham is just got in. He says, yeah, we've got an exciting finish there. We need chicken pack so to get up to 3rd. So it's not quite over yet. We're just over 10 minutes remaining. Dave Cannon saying about there used to be biscuits called AB in military rations. Must be something about those initials. Oh, AB, that's Anthony Brown. I'm not going to get involved in any chats between our followers on YouTube. Of course, that's one big thing. If you're enjoying watching the racing and if you're enjoying the commentary, please click that subscribe button on the Race Club channel and hit a like as well. There's a little button to do that, and we very much appreciate it if you did. So we have just dropped under 10 minutes to go, so let's see where Ardenardi is. He's coming towards the finishing line, so this is going to be 5 laps to go at the end of this lap. So I don't see us, unless we get an incident, seeing have a major change of position at the moment. So I think Bassett is on the same lap as Denardi, but Denardi is heading up Mountain Straight, whereas Bassett is just going up over Skyline. So that's a good 2/3 of a lap, so probably a minute and a half gap between the two. So Denardi there just working his way through a bit of traffic. I think that was Baba just going down a lap on the leader there. And then the next one up the road is Chicken Paxo, I think. No, it isn't. It's, by the looks of it, I think that's Marge. So Marge, I think, lost out of space in those late pit stops there because he's dropped back behind DB Kung. So I'd imagine with only a few minutes to go to the end of the race, I would think that was probably down to a shortage of fuel, because if your tyres were wearing, you wouldn't sacrifice the time loss of a pit stop. Oh, was that Groot having a little bit of an adventure there? No, it wasn't Groot. Who was that having a bit of an adventure there? Might have been Randy Flangepants is having another adventure. Oh, and that was Baba, just managed to sweep around the recovering Randy Flangepants there, who had a bit of an adventure, and by the look of it, it's more the Bentley wing on the back is definitely bent. I don't know if it's Lee, but it's definitely bent. So he's just looks like he's crabbing his way back to the pits for another little bit of work for his slightly, I believe, overworked mechanics. Oh, we're going the scenic route there, don't blame you. We're taking the rallycross. Can you go through the barrier there? Will that let you? No, you're going to have to go around the end. There we go, back on the track, there you go. I think there's a bit of a right turn issue there, is there, Randy? Yeah, there is. Oh, yeah, left a bit, yeah. Pit lane, to your left, there we go. Mind the advertising hoardings, we paid a lot for those, so we don't want to be replacing those because we'll have to send you the bill. So I'll be interested to see whether he can make this left turn at the end here. Yeah, no, it looks like he's made it into the pits. So let's just sit with Rusty for a moment or two. Unfortunately, we've got cars neatly spread all around the track, so we haven't got anything particularly good we can show you from the onboard at the moment. I think we have got, let's have a look, where is Denardi on the track at the moment? Just trying to see, just trying to calculate the laps. So that's Rusty heading off down Conrod Straight again. With the gap back to Chris V Dub, I think his podium is fairly safe unless he has a bit of a moment between now and the end. Let's see if we've got... So, just having a look in the chat. Oh, Stuart Packham just being updated on what happened with Chicken Paxo. And what happened with Chicken Paxo was the wall twice. And the second time it was so hard he needed to get recovered to the pit. So that cost him an awful lot of time as well. So he was down, let's find Chicken Paxo. He was down to, I think, 11th at one point, but has worked his way back up to 5th. So he was coming under at the time of his first incident. He was coming under an awful lot of pressure from Bazix. Bazix had a lot of pace at that time. Donardi initially led. He dropped back to 3rd after a small mistake, and I think that was where Bazix struck well, because he was in 2nd place at the time. He was hounding Chicken Paxo really hard, and Chicken Paxo eventually made a mistake, and Bazix was able to capitalise. Donardi caught him probably about, I think, 20 minutes, half an hour later, and got past. But I think at that point Bazix had decided to take the safe route and just let Donardi go. But he just late on, when Chicken Paxo caught Bazix, even though Chicken Paxo was the lap car, he was trying to unlap himself from Bazix, and they got involved in a little bit of a battle, which for me was a surprise. If I'd have been Bazix, I'd have let him go, and it was a bit wheel to wheel, and then Bazix has made a slight mistake just clipping the wall, but does seem to have got away with it. So that's Chicken Paxo on his way up the mountain straight. Let's see who is doing what up the front, because we've got Donardi. Let's see where he is. He's up the top there. So when he comes down, when he comes through the end of Conrod, that will be just 2 laps to go. Looks like Randy Flangepants is in the pits at the moment for repairs. It'd be great if he could get out and actually roll them across the line for the finish. Hopefully he'll get back out and join us. Maybe he's going for the safe option and decided to stay in the pits as long as possible, so he just has to do 1 lap at the end. But it'd be great to see him finish the line. Great supporter of Race Club UK is Randy. He's out in virtually every round. May not be quite on the pace of the front runners, but he gets out there and gets stuck in. So have we got anybody that is likely to do anything exciting in the next 2 laps? As Donardi crosses the line with just 2 laps to go, I can't see that anything exciting is going to happen unless somebody throws it in the hedge. So the only other thing we might have, who Bazix is getting caught there by Chris V Dub. Now Bazix is effectively a lap in front, so whether he's just taken it easy and will let Chris V Dub by, I'm not sure. We could see, let's see what it is quickly on board with Chris V Dub looking forward from his Porsche down towards the Bentley of Bazix. Just got a bit more chat coming in. Anthony Brown's, we ought to see a shoey from Bazix. I'm not sure how from safety will allow us to do such kind of things like that, particularly if it was my shoes. You'd need a full medic with CPR and defibrillator facilities on board if you were doing it for one of my shoes, I think. And particularly for these drivers there, if they've been having their shoes working away at these pedals for a couple of hours, I would, you know, I'd step aside from that one. I'll let some of these youngsters have a go. So here we go, Chris V Dub coming around Murray's to complete another lap. He'll have 2 to go at the end of this one, or 1 to go at the end of the one he is now on. So here we go, Hell's corner. Oh, and that's Bazix getting a little bit wide up in front. But but I think we're going to be fairly stable here to the end. We'll just return to our trackside cameras. So Donardi's got 55 laps in the book. He will
Leaders on final lap now.
just start his final lap. So great race there by Donardi. He's done all that he can to try and help his teammate Chicken Paxo. He's taken points off Bazix by taking the lead and taking the maximum points, but Bazix, unfortunately, fortunately for Bazix, his main competitor for the championship encountered problems all through the first part of this race, and he's now stuck down in 5th. And as they've actually crossed the line, I don't think there's any way that he can actually get close enough to get that 3rd position that Chicken Paxo needs, even if the race was to stop now, because of the lap gaps behind them. So we'll just sit on board with our potential race winner Donardi. After that first section of the race, not been overly troubled, and he is probably for the last 90 minutes been pretty much on his own. Went for the one-stop strategy, pitted just after the hour, so he's really sort of done it in the cleanest way possible. So this is going to be another win in Race Club UK for Donardi. Mind you, this is round 12. This is the Bathurst 2-hour endurance, so these drivers have been out here for just on, well, 2 hours now, because the timer has run out. So, but the race won't finish until Donardi has crossed that line and taken the checkered flag. And then we have the frantic whiz back and forward, trying to work out who's going to cross the line next, because they're all completely out of sequence. So into the chase for the final time for Donardi. Given the curbs there, a bit of a wide berth. No point in risking it now. Down to Murray's. Last time down through the gearbox. And here we go. Here is your winner. Donardi F1 crosses the line to win the 2-hour Race Club UK finale of Season 5. So coming up to the line next is Marge in the McLaren, the only McLaren in the race. He comes across, finishes in 8th place. Coming through next is Baba. First time with Race Club. Good solid finish there in 6th. Great race for the racer from Kentucky, USA. So great job there by him. And then who is coming through next? It is Rusty GT, who looks like he's had a little bit of an adventure, because that Ferrari does not look well at all. So on the last lap, by the looks of it, Rusty made a mistake, but he's got away with it. So he's crossed the line. He's in 3rd place. So coming up next is DB Kung in the blue Ferrari. He comes through. He's going to finish in 7th place. And next, and another driver right at the end that's had a problem. He's Chicken Paxo, has come in contact with a wall yet again. He's absolutely crawling to the finish, but he should be able to get away with it. He's going to get 5th place, but he's going really slowly, in fact. And the one who is coming actually is Bazix, who I don't think is going to actually be able to catch him. But Chicken Paxo clearly had a massive impact with the wall there. He managed to finish in 5th place. But here comes our championship winner, Bazix. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. Crosses the line. Well done. Bit of a round of applause there for Bazix, our championship winner. And a quick one there for Chris V. Dub, who just crossed the line there. He is finishes there in 4th place. Great strong finish for him. And then, Groot is in the wall there. Groot's had a little bit of an adventure as well on the last lap, so it looks like everyone's having a bit of an adventure there at the end. So, and where is Randy Flangepants? Because, he's still in the pits. So Groot is frantically trying to find the finish, but he's using the lesser known pinball method of getting to the end of the race. I think he's not got much left on the right hand side. And there goes the IMG. Oh, the ice brake. Not the other AMG one. Oh, the other AMG's gone. He's going for another one. Hang on, it's going to be a full house. Get the last one. Yeah, well done. You got the 50 metre marker. No, you need to turn left there. That's the car park. No, I think Groot's having a bit of technical issues there, so he may need to return to the pits on that one. No, hang on, he's going to go. He's going for it. Left hand down a bit, lad. That's it. Yeah, go on, get it on the spin. Yeah, go on. You got it pointing the right way. You can do it. And we'll just have a quick look at what is happening on the chat. Congratulations to Dan and Bazzox from Stuart Packham. Great comms from Rusty GT. Oh, thank you for that one. So brilliant. Thank you very much, and well done, Groot. I think, has Groot got to the finish? No, it doesn't seem like it seems to admit that he has. So he's making reasonable efforts there. So there we go. That is Race Club over for Season 5. It seems only yesterday we were starting at Imola at the beginning of the season, but here we are at the end of the season. So Race Club wraps it up here at Bathurst. So I've been really honoured to commentate on the series. Hope you've enjoyed listening to me and I haven't been too boring for you. I'm not sure whether I'll be joining you next season, because if it goes to PlayStation 5, unfortunately I won't be keeping up with that technology. So brilliant. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully catch up with you soon.